Pact Familiar. Oh, that's a cantrip now. Did they legitimately make the 3 pacts cantrips? Huh. Well, B. Okay. Sure. They actually just made, like, I'm assuming we're gonna get blades something then in a second. Oh yeah, packed weapon. There you go. There you go. That's the other one. They just made them cantrips. Okay. Are those gonna be? Oh, we'll see in a second, I guess. Casting time 1 hour, range 10 feet, verbal and somatic, instantaneous, sure. Oh boy, giant text. You summon an unearthly entity to serve you, manifests an unoccupied space of your choice, uses the Pact Familiar stat block, because again, they're generalizing all their fucking stat blocks. I still don't like that, by the way. I still prefer the fact that they give you actual, like, things. Whenever you cast a spell, choose the familiar's creature type, aberration, flump, or knot of tentacles. You can have a familiar that is a knot of tentacles. That is weird. Celestial, owl, raven, or bird. Apparently, beasts are celestials now. Dragon, you can have a pseudo-dragon or a similar dragonet. Okay. Fae, picks your sprite, fiend, imperquisite, or undead. You can have a skull. Yes. Yes, I want a skull. I just want a giant skull sitting on my shoulder just the entire time going. I want that. Yes. Warlock might actually be cool to play now, like just full Warlock. Although I do think full Warlock's always been fun to play, but nobody just does it. Combat. The familiar is an ally to you and your companions. It obeys you. Combat shares your initiative count, takes a turn immediately after yours. On its turn, takes a dodge action, uses its move to avoid danger, unless you use your reaction to command it to attack. Sure. Disappearance. It disappears if it drops to 0 hit points, if you dismiss it as a bonus action, or if you die. When it disappears, leaves behind anything it was wearing or carrying. If you cast a spell again, you decide whether you summon the familiar that disappeared or a different one. Nope, same one. Fuck off. Remote viewing is a magic action. You can see what your familiar sees, hear what it hears until the end of your next turn. Sure. Cantrip upgrades. Starting when you reach 5th level as a warlock, you can communicate telepathically with your familiar as long as you two are on the same plane of existence. Oh, okay, cool. Perceiving through your familiar sentences. You can also speak through your familiar in your own voice. Yes. Yes. I just want like a giant skull to appear on, not a giant skull, but like a skull to appear on someone's nightstand. Just look at them the moment they wake up in the middle of the night because something happened or whatever. They freak the fuck out. They pick up the skull, at which point it just says something stupid like, nee. What's up, Doc? That's what I want. And I want to freak out people with it, and it's going to kill my skull, and I don't care. It's a skull. Anyway. Armor class, 10 plus your spellcasting ability modifier, sure. 5 plus your warlock level, sure. And 40/40. Sure. I still don't like the idea that, like... I still don't like the idea that you get, like, one fucking type of familiar. Like, I don't know. It's the same problem that I have with, like, the Druid shape, apart from the fact the Druid shape got nerfed very heavily. I still don't like the idea of, like, oh, you know, it's now all one fucking thing. Like, I don't know. You can still be like, oh, but visual changes, you can still make it look like whatever the fuck you want. And it's like, that's not the point. The point is the fact that it had different abilities. It had a different use depending on what it was. Okay, sure, like, this is like imp stuff, right? But like, what if I want a fucking raven with 80 feet movement speed? Like, you know? I don't know. That's the one issue that I have with this. Other than that, this is really cool, actually. See, like, even the same stats. Telepathy, dark vision, passive perception, sure. Proficiency bonus equal to your bonus, of course. You can add your proficiency bonus to any ability check or saving throw that the familiar makes. Doesn't that technically mean that its passive perception should be 12 plus your proficiency bonus? I don't know. Eldritch Strike. 1 target hits 2 plus half your warlock level. This is a cantrip, by the way. It's a 1 hour casting time, but it's still like, why is packed weapon in action? Sorry. Distracted. Damage of type determined by, yeah, sure. Your damage is determined by your type. So if you go undead, you get a necrotic, aberration, acids, yeah, sure. And apparently you can use an action to make it invisible. Which, I mean, okay. I mean, you can have an invisible thing that just starts, yeah. Just find a fucking thing you've known. To be fair, I don't know if this invisible is underlined, so I'm assuming we're gonna find that in the glossary. But I don't know if invisible also makes items you're holding invisible. Packed weapon. I'm really curious now. So in action, tracing arcane sigils in the air, you conjure a simple or martial melee weapon of your choice in your outstretched hand. So you conjure it. You don't even need to have one. Okay. Create a bond. Oh, or create a bond with a magic weapon you touch. Whoops, I accidentally added green stuff to it. Weapon you conjure or touch must lack the heavy property. Spell fails if you touch a magic item that is attuned to someone else. Sure, so you can't steal someone's weapon with this. Makes sense. It gives you... When you attack with the weapon, you can use your spellcasting ability modifier for attack and damage rolls instead of using strength or dex. So... Did Pact of the Blade used to give you that? It didn't, right? But what did it give you? You're proficient with it. Perform the ritual, yada yada yada. Yeah, this used to be a Hexblade exclusive. So now pretty much you can just use your charisma. Okay, cool. Yeah, okay, so now if you pick up Pact Weapon, you can just use your charisma for your attacks. Okay, sure, cool. You have proficiency with the weapon, sure. Has the thrown property. Really? If the weapon has the thrown property, it returns to you. So you can just like chuck a hand axe, get it back, chuck a hand axe, get it back, chuck a hand axe, get it back. Okay. Spell ends early if you cast the spell again or die. When it ends, a conjured weapon disappears or a bond with a magic weapon stops. Okay. Yeah, sure, that makes sense. Upgrade. When you reach the 5th level, you gain the extra attack feature for the conjured or magic weapon. With that feature, you can attack twice with the weapon instead of once. Yeah, I figured. So you can make 2 attacks starting from 5th level. I actually like the fact that like they just turned the 3 features into cantrips, which I don't know. I mean, it depends, right? It depends on whether or not you're going to be allowed to pick one of them, or if this means that you can legitimately make a character that has like packed weapon, what's it called? Not modified. Oh my god. Packed familiar, packed weapon, and like the Book of Shadows. Like, if you can do all 3 now, I think that's cool. I think that's a really cool idea to turn it into cantrips. If you're still only going to be able to pick one, then this is just a semantics thing, right? Like, apart from the fact that I will say the upgrades, I think used to be invocations. But to be fair, I don't even know if warlocks still have invocations, because I heard a little bit about warlock. I think they turn like I'm not gonna say anything yet because I'm not sure, but like yeah. Anyway, scribe spell. I think they literally just made scribe spell. This is literally just like channeling magic through quill and ink. You scribe an arcane spell in your spellbook or blank book worth at least 50 gold pieces. Scribe spell must be of a level for which you have a spell slot. Book must lack the spell. As you magically scribe the spell, you must copy it from another spellbook or a spell scroll, or you must have it prepared. If you copy it from a spell scroll, the scroll is destroyed. If you have the spell prepared, the casting times and component costs are halved. Wait, how would one have a spell prepared? Oh, with thingy here, I'm assuming then with not modify spell, but memorize. No, not memorize. Create spell. No, wait. Meditate on the spell you altered with mono. Yeah, okay, so you would have to use like a mono. So we're getting rid of like the half cost, half time stuff then, because it's just like if you have it prepared now. I'm assuming it does help if you want to like make a second spell book, I guess. It just takes you half the time and half the price to do so. Sure. Scribing is complete. Spell becomes one of your known spells in the book, appearing on its own page if the book was out of pages. Spell appears in the cipher that is understandable only to you or someone casting Identify or Scribe spell. And if the book was blank before the scribing, that book is now your spell book. Okay. I mean, sure. I don't really have an issue with this. Sorcerer's Burst. Evocation cantrip. Alright. Action, range 120, sure. So cantrip, you cast Sorcerer's Energy at one creature or object within range. Make a ranged attack roll against the target. On a hit, the target takes 1d6. If you roll a... Oh, God. You did not... You did not make exploding dice in 5th edition. You made exploding dice. Okay. Roll a d6. You can roll another d6 and add it to the damage. Whenever you cast a spell, the maximum number of these d6s you can add to the spell's damage equals your spellcasting ability modifier. Cool. Yeah, sure. You can choose the damage type each time you cast a spell. Spell's damage increases by 1d6 when you reach certain sorcerer's levels. So I'm going to assume... Oh, it is sorcerer levels here specifically again. I'm going to assume... the maximum number of these d6s you can add. So I'm assuming even if the damage goes up to 2d6s, if your spellcasting ability modifier is +4, for example, you'd still only be able to get like 4 6s in total. You wouldn't be able to go 4 6s on one die and then 4 6s on the other, I would assume. So your max damage at 5th level would be like 66, for example, I'm assuming. At which point you'd already have like 24 points of damage. Which, to be fair, that's like... To be fair, the average of an exploding die, is 4.2. So it's going to be less than that because that's infinite exploding dice. But yeah. I mean, it's a cool cantrip. Don't know if I'd pick it. I think I'd pick it once you get to like... this would be like a pick once you get to like 5th or maybe even 11th level, I think. I think that point it becomes a really good cantrip. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Not compared to like a firebolt or something. You literally have to double every single one of your dice. Because firebolt has like 2 damage per damage die plus, right? Because like a d10 is 5.5 on average, a d6 is 3.5 on average. So even at like 3 d10s, you need to roll 2 to get better damage. You need to roll 2 6s to get better damage on it. Oh no, even then. I'd have to calculate it. I don't know if this is... I don't know how good this... It does have like the... Can somebody, by the way, just... Can I be annoyed at the fact that every single one of these spells now has you can change the damage type, and that's like literally the fucking point of my class! The one I made! Fuck you. Anyway. Sorcerer's Vitality. Abjuration 3rd level. You draw on your innate magic to fill yourself with vitality and gain hit points equal to 3d6 plus your spellcasting ability modifier, and if you have blinded, deafened, or poisoned, they end. Okay, sorcerers got healing. Why did sorcerers get healing? What's the fucking point of giving sorcerers healing? Okay, sure. Okay. It's still worse healing than a cleric. 3rd level cleric does 3d8 plus spellcasting, so still worse, but okay. I mean, you heal blinded, deafened, and poisoned. Congratulations. It's worse healing. It's healing, but it's... I just don't get why sorcerers get healing, but anyway, okay. Sorcery Incarnates. Casting time bonus action. The magic within you blooms, transferring you into a glimmering being of magical energy for the duration. You regain 1d4 sorcery points. Okay. And until the spell ends, you gain the following benefit. You can use up to 2 of your meta magic options on each spell you cast, provided you pay the sorcery point costs with advantage on the attack rolls of every spell you cast. So, okay, 5th level transmutation. So we're assuming level 9, right? It is a bonus action, but that doesn't matter because that literally doesn't matter because I'm assuming we're still assuming the rule of you can only, if you use a spell as a bonus action, you can't cast the spell as an action, right? We're assuming that rule still. And that doesn't matter because, okay, you're going to get advantage on like your firebolt or your whatever, your cantrip that I'm assuming you're using. Which is fine. But then you're really only going to get value out of this on your next turn. Because I'm assuming you don't want to fucking spend a bunch of meta magic options on... Like, sure, you get the 1d4 sorcery points, which is like 2.5 sorcery points that you get. But that's like... I don't know, maybe this is because I underestimate meta magic. Because I feel like I've underestimated meta magic as an ability for a while. This just doesn't really seem worth it to me. Personally. I mean, you can think whatever you want, right? But that doesn't seem worth it to me, honestly. Because you can't immediately really use those sorcery points. You can't really use the meta magic options immediately because you're not going to be able to cast a higher level spell. If it said you're able to cast a higher level spell with it, then yeah, that would be great. 5th level slot, immediately use your action to fucking, I don't know, Cone of Cold. Disintegrate, I don't fucking know whatever level you're at. Like, you know. You're not able to use Quickened that round already because of bonus action, so you're looking at something like Heightened or whatever, which, to be fair, Heightened is 3 points. Which, you know, you can kind of get back, but even then you still need, like, you need to want to use 2 of your meta magic options together, at which point I would assume it'd be like Heightened and Extended or whatever. Plus, you also have to understand you're not able to use it on concentration spells because, right, your concentrations, if you'd concentrate on it, you'd be able to like use your 2 meta magic options on one spell, and then you'd lose concentration on this, and you're not allowed to lose concentration. You're not a wizard, so you can't scribe it and modify it to not break concentration. So I don't know. This doesn't seem worth it to me, but you know, it's a cool spell. It's a cool idea. I just don't think, especially at 5th level, I don't think this is worth it. I would say like at 1st level, or even like at 1st level without the sorcery points, maybe I'd find it worth it. But even then, actually no, then it might be broken. Although you'd have advantage on your cantrips, and that'd be it, right? I'm assuming you can't have more sorcery points than what you start with. Well, to be fair, at that point, let's remove the 1d4. You wouldn't... I mean, at least 2nd level, right? Because at 1st level, you don't have meta magic options yet. So it wouldn't make sense to have Sorcery Incarnate as a 1st level spell if you're not going to be able to use it at 1st level. Yeah, okay. Anyway, that's it for spells. We have been spending a lot of time. Holy shit, I'm going to have a lot of videos here.